Hey there, fellow green thumbs. Ready to dive deep into the world of cannabis cultivation.
I'm excited to be here.
Today, we'll demystify the process of growing cannabis, starting from those little seeds. We'll explore the entire journey, from germination to those beautiful buds.
By the end, you'll be equipped with the knowledge and confidence to start your own cultivation journey.
Sounds great. Before we dive in, a quick reminder that this is for educational purposes only. Laws around cannabis cultivation vary, so always double check the regulations in your area.
Absolutely. Responsible cultivation is key. We encourage everyone to be informed and respectful of the laws and community guidelines.
Okay, let's get started. Those tiny seeds always seem kind of magical to me. They can grow into a full-fledged plant.
It's pretty remarkable, yeah. But there's more to it than just planting seeds and hoping for the best.
Right, of course. So what's the first step?
The first crucial step is selecting the right seeds.
Okay, seed selection makes sense. What should we know about that?
Well, first off, there are different types of cannabis seeds, regular, feminized, and autoflowering. Each has its own unique characteristics.
I've heard those terms before, but I'm not sure I totally get the difference.
No worries, it can be a bit confusing at first. Regular seeds are the most natural. They have a 50-50 chance of producing a male or female plant.
And we only want female plants, right?
Yep, the female plants are the ones that produce those desirable buds.
Gotcha. So feminized seeds.
Exactly. Feminized seeds are especially bred to almost guarantee female plants.
That sounds a lot easier for a beginner like me.
It definitely simplifies things. No need to worry about identifying and separating male plants early on.
What about those auto-flowering seeds? What makes them special?
They're interesting because they flower based on age, not light cycles. That makes them a popular choice for beginners or people with limited space.
Okay. But if I'm a newbie and just want to try growing a few plants for myself, what would you recommend?
Stick with feminized seeds. It's a great starting point.
Sounds good to me. Plus, they come in so many varieties.
You got it. With feminized seeds, you have a wider choice of strains, each with its own unique aroma, flavor, and effects. You could really get into the specifics.
Oh, so I could pick a strain for like relaxing in the evening and another with energizing effects for daytime.
Precisely. It's all part of the fun of cannabis cultivation. You can become a curator of sorts, choosing genetics based on their specific traits.
Okay, I'm sold on those feminized seeds. So let's say I've chosen my strain and I'm holding these tiny seeds. Now what?
Now it's time to get them sprouting. We call this germination.
Right, I know seeds need like warmth, moisture, darkness.
You got it. And we can create those conditions with a simple technique called the paper towel method.
Paper towel method. Sounds simple enough.
It really is. You just need 2 damp paper towels, a plate, and your seeds. Space the seeds out on one towel, cover them with the other, like a little seed sandwich.
Ah, so we're building a little sauna for them.
Exactly. Then find a warm, dark spot, top of the fridge, a cupboard, as long as the temperature is consistent, around 70 to 80 degrees.
Okay, got it. How long does this usually take? I'm eager to see some action.
Patience is key here. It can be anywhere from 24 to 72 hours, sometimes even up to a week. The main thing is to keep those paper towels moist.
Okay, no peeking too often, I get it. But what am I looking for when I do check on them?
Look for a tiny white tail emerging from each seed. That's the taproot, the start of the root system.
Ah, the taproot. That means those seeds are becoming seedlings.
Precisely. It's a sign of life taking hold. And once you see that taproot, you're ready for the next stage planting.
All right, we've got those germinated seeds with their little taproots waving hello. What kind of home are we setting up for them?
We're choosing the perfect nursery for our little plant babies. We'll need small pots, with drainage holes, of course, and the right soil is crucial.
Soil, right. Can I just use any potting soil?
Regular potting soil could be too heavy for seedlings. We want something light and airy. Cocoa coir is a good option, or you can use pre-mixed seeding soil.
Okay, so a nice fluffy bed for those delicate roots. Now, how do we actually plant them?
Carefully make a small hole, about ½ an inch deep, and place the seed in with the taproot pointing down. Then gently cover with soil.
Just tucking them in, not smothering them.
Exactly. And remember to be gentle. They're fragile at this stage.
Got it. What's next on our plant parenting checklist?
Now we need to create the right environment for them to thrive. One of the most important things is lighting, especially for indoor growing.
Okay, let's talk about light. What do we need?
Seedlings need lots of light. Ideally, 18-24 hours a day. Think along summer days. We can use CFL or LED grow lights indoors.
No old school heat lamps.
Nope, those can burn the leaves. You want to keep those lights a few inches above the seedlings, adjusting as they grow. If the leaves feel hot, raise the light.
Makes sense. So not too close, not too far. What about temperature and humidity?
Seedlings like a warm, humid environment. Around 70-80 degrees Fahrenheit with a relative humidity of about 60%. You can use a hygrometer to monitor those levels.
Right, lighting, humidity, temperature, all checked off. Anything else?
We can't forget watering. It's a crucial element and often a tricky one for new growers.
Watering right. Keep the soil moist but not soggy. I get it. But how do you get that balance right?
The key is to water lightly and only when the soil feels dry. Stick your finger in about an inch deep. If it's dry, it's time to water.
Okay, so we're playing plant detective, checking those moisture levels and giving them just the right amount of hydration.
Exactly. It's all about observation and intuition. And just like with any new skill, it takes practice. But with the right care, those tiny seedlings will start to grow and thrive.
I love that. It's about connecting with nature, understanding this delicate balance. This is more than just growing a plant. It's almost like a mindfulness exercise.
Well said. And as those seedlings grow, they'll be ready for the next stage, transplanting. But we'll save that exciting chapter for our next installment.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Last time we got those little seeds popping and those seedlings reaching for the light.
Yeah, we covered a lot, from those germination techniques to making sure we're giving them the best environment to grow.
I'm already feeling like a proud plant parent, but this is just the beginning, right?
It is, those seedlings are growing fast, and now we're moving into a really exciting phase, the vegetative growth stage. This is where your plants really start to take off and develop those nice, lush leaves.
Oh, wow. Okay, so what exactly is happening during this vegetative stage and how long does it usually last?
Well, think of it as the plant's period of intense growth. It's focusing on building a strong root system, sturdy stems, and expanding its foliage, like laying a solid foundation.
So we're setting them up for success later on when they start flowering.
Exactly. A healthy vegetative stage is super important for maximizing yield and quality when it comes to those buds.
Makes sense. Now, we talked about light being crucial for seedlings. Does anything change during this vegetative stage?
Good question. While seedlings love those long, sunny days, 18-24 hours of light, remember, for the vegetative stage, we adjust the light cycle a bit.
Oh, okay. How so?
We typically go with 18 hours of light and 6 hours of darkness. That 186 light cycle mimics what happens naturally during long summer days.
So we're still giving them plenty of light, but also a bit of a break each night.
Exactly. That darkness period helps regulate their growth hormones, encourages strong stems and leaves. It's all about finding that balance, you see.
It really is amazing how they respond to these little changes, isn't it? I'm realizing there's a whole science to this cannabis cultivation thing.
It's fascinating stuff, really. A mix of biology, chemistry, and a touch of art, I'd say.
Speaking of art, I've heard about different techniques for training cannabis plants during this stage. Is that something we should be thinking about?
Training techniques, definitely. They could be super beneficial, especially if you're growing indoors or you have limited space. It's about manipulating the plant's growth to maximize yield, create a manageable shape, and improve light penetration.
That sounds pretty cool. So what kind of training techniques are we talking about?
Well, there's topping, fimming, and low-stress training. Each method has its advantages. It depends on what you're going for.
Okay, break it down for me. What's topping?
Topping is when you cut off the topmost shoot of the plant, usually just above a node,
A node.
the spot where those leaves emerge. This encourages the plant to grow two new main colas instead of just one, essentially doubling your potential bud sites.
Ah, so it's like giving them a haircut to make them bushier.
Yeah, exactly. It creates a more compact plant, which is great for indoor grows or small spaces.
I like it. Now, what about fimming? How is that different?
Simming is similar to topping, but you're only removing a portion of that new growth tip, not the whole shoot. This can actually lead to even more bud sites than topping, sometimes 4 or more new colas.
Wow, so fimming is like topping on steroids.
Haha, you could say that. It's a bit more advanced, needs more precision, but potentially leads to even higher yields.
Okay, those sound cool. And then there was low stress training. What was that about?
Low-stress training, LST, is a gentler approach. We're talking bending and tying down the branches to make them grow more horizontally.
Wait, bending and tying them down. Doesn't that hurt the plant?
Not at all. It's done very gently. The reason we do this is to expose more of those bud sites to light. It leads to more even bud development and can increase those yields.
So it's like we're optimizing their sunbathing spots.
Exactly. It's all about working with the plant's natural growth patterns to get the best results.
I'm seeing how these techniques can really make a difference, especially in an indoor setup. Now, what about watering? Do their needs change as they get bigger during this vegetative stage?
Absolutely. As those plants grow, their roots spread out and they need more water. You'll want to adjust that watering schedule accordingly.
So still doing the finger test for soil moisture, but watering more often or giving them more water each time.
Exactly. Keep checking that soil moisture, and as they get bigger, you'll likely be watering more frequently and with a larger volume.
Got it. Now let's talk about nutrients. How do we make sure they're getting the right stuff during this stage?
Good point. Just like us, Canada's plants need a balanced diet. During this vegetative stage, they're especially hungry for nitrogen, which is key for leafy growth.
Ah, so that's what gives them those beautiful, vibrant leaves.
Yep, they also need phosphorus for root development and potassium for overall health and resilience.
Okay, the big three. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. How do we make sure they're getting the right balance?
There are a couple of ways to go about it. You can use pre-mixed nutrient solutions designed for vegetative growth, really convenient, Or you can go the organic route using compost, worm castings, or fish emulsion.
So prepackaged or a little more hands-on DIY style.
Exactly. Both options have their pros and cons. The pre-mixed solutions are easy to use, while the organic stuff is great for building soil health and encouraging those beneficial microbes.
Interesting. And this is something we need to be thinking about throughout the whole vegetative stage.
Yes, consistent nutrient supply is important. And whether you're using premixed or organic, always follow the instructions and avoid overdoing it. Too much of a good thing can actually harm your plants.
Got it. So we've got lighting, watering, nutrients. Is there anything else we should be keeping a close eye on during this phase?
This is also a good time to be extra vigilant about pests and diseases. Prevention is key.
Pests. Like what kind of pests? Give me the creepy crawlies.
Haha, well, some common ones are spider mites, aphids, whiteflies, and fungus gnats. They can really mess up your plants if you let them get out of hand.
No thanks. What can we do to prevent them?
Keeping your grow space clean and well ventilated is huge. Regularly check your plants for any signs of those unwanted guests and consider preventative measures. Neem oil or insecticidal soap can be helpful.
So we're creating an environment where pests don't want to hang out.
Exactly. And if you do spot any, jump on it quickly. There are a lot of organic and chemical pest control options, but early detection is always best.
Okay, so cleanliness, vigilance, and quick action are our best weapons. Got it.
Exactly. And remember, healthy plants are naturally more resistant to pests and diseases, so providing those optimal growing conditions we've been talking about is the best way to keep them strong and thriving.
It all comes back to those plant parenting basics, doesn't it? This has been a great overview of the vegetative stage. We've covered lighting, watering, training techniques, even pest control.
It's a lot to take in, but with the right care, your plants will really flourish during this time. It's all building up to the most anticipated phase, flowering. But we'll save that for our next and final installment.
All right, welcome back to the deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground from those tiny seeds to those thriving vegetative plants. Now we're at the most exciting stage, flowering.
This is where it all comes together. All that care and attention pays off as those beautiful, resinous buds start to develop.
I'm ready for the show, but first things first, how do we even know when our plants are ready to make that transition from veg to flowering?
That transition, it's mainly triggered by changes in the light cycle. Remember how we were giving them 18 hours of light and 6 hours of darkness during veg?
Yeah, mimicking those long summer days.
Exactly. To get them to start flowering, we need to switch that up to a 12 cycle. 12 hours of light, 12 hours of uninterrupted darkness.
So now we're tricking them into thinking fall is coming.
You got it. We're essentially mimicking the shortening days of late summer, signaling to the plants that it's time to shift gears from growing bigger to producing flowers.
That's so cool. I never knew plants are so sensitive to light. What's actually happening inside the plant when we make that switch?
It's pretty complex, but basically, the change in light triggers all sorts of hormonal changes. Mainly, it shifts the balance of hormones that regulate growth and development.
So it's like flipping a switch that tells them, okay, time to make some buds.
Pretty much. And as those hormonal changes happen, the plant's energy gets redirected from vegetative growth to bud production. You'll start to see visible changes too.
Okay, I'm all eyes. What should I be looking for?
Watch for those pistils, those tiny white hairs that emerge from the calyx.
Wait, the what?
The calyx, it's that protective layer around the flower. Those little white hairs are a sure sign that your plants are entering the flowering stage.
Oh, right. I've seen those little white hairs before, so that's the first sign those buds are on their way.
Exactly. Over the next few weeks, you'll see those pistils become more prominent, and the buds themselves will start to swell up and develop their aroma. Speaking of aroma.
Yeah, that was actually one of my questions. I've heard those flowering plants can get pretty fragrant, to say the least. Any tips for managing that smell, especially if you're growing indoors?
Definitely, it's a common concern. One really effective solution is a carbon filter.
A carbon filter? What's that?
It's a device that uses activated charcoal to absorb those strong smells. It's like a heavy-duty air freshener for your grow space.
Oh, interesting. So it basically traps all those odors.
Pretty much. Carbon filters are a game changer for indoor growers. Another option is to choose strains known for having a less intense smell.
Oh, so there are stealthy strains.
You could say that. You could find plenty of strains that produce amazing buds without overwhelming your senses.
Good to know. Okay, so back to those buds. We've got pistils popping up, buds getting bigger. What else is happening during this flowering stage?
This is when those nutrients we talked about earlier become even more important. Flowering takes a lot of energy, so those plants will need a good supply of the right nutrients.
So we're basically feeding some hungry athletes at this point.
Haha, that's a good way to think about it. While they still need a mix of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, during flowering they need a higher ratio of phosphorus and potassium. That helps with flower formation and resin production.
Makes sense. So we're giving them that extra protein to fuel those budding muscles. And how do we make sure they're getting the right amount?
Just like before, you can use premixed flowering nutrients or go the organic route.
We've got
It's
the
all
light
about
dialed in, the nutrients. Anything else we need to know?
Oh, this is also a good time to talk about flushing.
Flushing, what is that?
It's basically rinsing the soil with plain water for a week or two before you harvest.
Why do we do that?
It helps get rid of any excess nutrients that have built up in the soil, which can affect the flavor and quality of your final product.
Oh, wow. So it's like a cleanse or detox for the plants.
Exactly. It's a simple step that can make a big difference in the overall quality of your harvest.
So we've nurtured our plants through germination, the vegetative stage, and now flowering. We've even flushed the soil. I'm sensing that harvest time is approaching. How do we know exactly when those buds are ready?
That's where observation comes out. We need to keep a close eye on those trichomes, those tiny crystal-like structures that cover the buds.
Oh, yeah, those trichomes. They give the buds that frosty, sparkly look. What are they exactly?
They're not just for looks. They produce cannabinoids and terpenes, those compounds that give cannabis its unique effects and aroma. And the color of those trichomes is a big clue about the plant's ripeness.
So we're looking at those tiny crystals to know when it's harvest time. What color should we be looking for?
When they're clear, the buds are still young. As they mature, the trichomes turn cloudy or milky white, and then as they reach peak ripeness, some of those trichomes start to turn amber.
So we're going for that milky white with hints of amber.
Exactly. The ratio of cloudy to amber trichomes actually influences the effects of the bud.
No way. So is there a perfect ratio?
It really depends on what kind of effect you're going for. Some people prefer to harvest earlier, when the trichomes are mostly cloudy, for more of an uplifting, energetic effect. Others wait until there's more amber for a more relaxing, sedative effect. It's all about experimenting and figuring out your preference.
Wow, I had no idea there was so much to it. We've gone from these tiny seeds to these magnificent plants with their intricate, crystal-covered buds. It's amazing what nature can do and what we can do as cultivators.
It's a journey, that's for sure. And as you harvest those buds, remember that you're reaping the rewards of all that patience, observation, and care you put in.
This deep dive has been incredible. I feel so inspired to get my hands dirty and start my own little grow.
That's what we like to hear. And remember, this is just the beginning. There's a whole world of cannabis cultivation to explore, new techniques, new discoveries all the time. So embrace the learning process, have fun experimenting, and enjoy the journey.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of cannabis cultivation. Until next time, happy growing, everyone.